Today we're going to talk about Geography Map Skills Lesson 2. When you're going through the slides at first, you might notice that some of the slides are the same as Lesson 1, and I did this on purpose to leave the information in there just in case you needed to review anything about geography or geographers, about the representations that geographers use, analyzing and interpreting these representations, and then the samples of how to analyze and interpret the maps based on the title, the key and color coding, and looking at the different questions. I did notice as I was grading lesson 1 that there was a lot of misunderstanding about the regions of the United States. In many of the questions, when I asked what region would you find the most feral pigs or whatever the question was, a lot of you guys were putting down just single states. And I want you to understand that the United States is divided up into regions. This different geographers will give you different amounts of regions, but in general, we're looking at about 5 different regions within the United States. So we're going to do a few review questions for regions of the United States um, before we head back into analyzing our other maps. So that's just what I described to you up here, but down here is a working definition for a region according to National Geographic. A region is an area of land that has common features. A region can be defined by natural or artificial features. Language, government, or religion can define a region, as can forests, wildlife, or climate. So when you look at natural features, we're talking about like the climate, like they mentioned, the forests down below, some particular wildlife, different types of animals that might live in different climates or are going to impact how a region is determined. Language and government, these are artificial features. So these are ones that are not created in nature, they're created by human beings. So when we look at this regions of the US map, you'll have a few review questions just to make sure that we're all on the same page and have an understanding of what a region is. Number 1, how many regions are there in the US according to this map? So you'll look here and you're basically going to count the colors here that are in the United States. Remember that Canada up to the north and Mexico to the south are not considered parts of the United States. Number 2, what region is Illinois located in? And number 3, how many total states are in the Southwest region? Once the review questions for the regions are through, you guys will start to see the different maps again and analyze for information. So this particular map, map F, is the amount of obese people, US adults, and this was taken from 2009. Obesity is a condition of being grossly fat or overweight. Question 1 is what percentage, of people in Montana were obese in 2009? So you remember, if you don't know where Montana is, you're going to go back to slide 14 and look for Montana. You'll notice that Montana is in this green state here, and it looks like there's almost a human face, like the profile, the forehead and the nose and the mouth here and the chin. That's how I always remember that's Montana. So the percentage of people in Montana were obese in 2009. You're going to look at this color and match it up with the color down here because this is our color coding, the key, the legend that tells us what information we're seeing on the map here. Number 2 is asking which state has the lowest percentage of obese people and why do you think that is? So you're going to look for these lower numbers here and again reference to what state it is and then give a determination as to why you think that is, your opinion. It should be based on some factual data like what you know about the state and then give your guesses to what that is. We're going to look at two different maps for the next few questions, maps G through H. G through H are down below. Make sure that you look at the maps and then complete the task. This first picture is a diagram of the lungs, trachea, and bronchus. They're all parts of the respiratory system. They help humans breathe. So it's all labeled here, lungs, trachea, esophagus, and there's some other internal organs. Map G, which will be listed first on the Google form, is deaths by lung cancer, tracheal cancer, and bronchus cancer in 2014. So again, if you're looking down here at the color coding bar, you'll notice that the lower numbers are in this blue color and the higher numbers are going to this red color. Map H is tobacco use by state. Tobacco products include cigarettes, cigars, pipes, snuff, and chewing tobacco. So you'll notice the colors down here, the lighter numbers are the lower percentage of use, and the darker numbers are the higher percentage of usage. So your task for maps G through H are based on the information in the maps, which of the following claims do you think is more likely? Claim A, using tobacco causes lung, tracheal, and bronchus cancer. And claim B, using tobacco does not cause lung, tracheal, or bronchus cancer. Write your answer to the question and your reason why. Then list at least 4 pieces of evidence from maps G through H to support your answer. So you're going to want to look at both maps, and you're going to want to look at and determine with the different states and try to look for patterns there. So for example, when you see like Illinois is mostly in this sort of yellowish color and there's some green in it, there are some red spots towards the southern area. And then when you look at Illinois, you'll see that the color here, it's about in the middle as far as usage goes based on this scale. So it's about in the middle. But you can notice that the darker colors are in this area of the country, and then kind of compare that to what you see over in this area on the map and how that's related to the amount of cancer that people are reporting. All right, map HH is population change from 2014 to 2015. The change in total population is per 1,000 of 2014 residents. So the darker colored red, is less than 20, and the darker colored blue is more than 20. So in general, did the Northeast region population increase, go up, or decrease, go down between 2014 and 2015? So when we look at the Northeast region, if we go back to our regions map, we notice that the Northeast region is over here. So we want to make sure that we reference that when we're looking at the map here. Okay? And you'll look back at the scale over here, because it's mostly reddish. Number 2 is name 2 states that mostly had an increase in their population between 2014 and 2015. 2 states that mostly had an increase. Next is map I, high school graduates. You'll have 3 questions about high school graduates on the Google form. Based on the data in this map, which region of the US is most uneducated? So you'll notice this key down here, which talks about the percent attaining at least a high school graduate or equivalent by county. And so the lighter numbers are the lower percentage, and as we get darker, it's the higher percentage. So based on the data on this map, which region of the US is most uneducated? Number 2, which state has the higher percentage of high school graduates, Nevada or Wisconsin? And number 3, do you think that more educated people would use an area's land and resources differently than less educated people, and explain. Next map is Map J. In a nationwide survey that was conducted, people were asked, what do you call the thing from which you might drink water in a school? The red color is water fountain, the blue color is drinking fountain, and the green color is bubbler. So, in which two states do middle school students ask their teachers, can I please get a drink from the bubbler? So, the color coding's down here, and it's also up here in the description. Number 2, which region of the US calls it a water fountain the most? When you are answering your questions, you are certainly welcome to write them down in your notebooks or on paper and then submit them as a picture to your teacher. But you can also just click here if you are in Picasta's class to access the Google form, or you can click here if you are in McGinnis's class to access the Google form.